TBISE, the best in sports entertainment. We're here live in Pod Rooms USA. TNS Media Group is the team and the family. I want to thank everyone for tuning in, everyone for being a part of our process here at TBISE. So let's jump into our NBA segment, Hoopers Only segment, where we go into the NBA playoffs, which are currently active right now. So I'll start with last night's game. We had the Golden State Warriors travel to Minnesota, down 3-1, going up against Ant-Man, Randall and the guys up there, and the T-Wolves played amazing. Outshined the Golden State Warriors. So let's jump into the game. So you had Anthony Edwards. He's been a superstar. So I'll just start there. He's a superstar in this league. He has now beat Jokic. He has eliminated Jokic from the playoffs. He's eliminated LeBron from the playoffs. He's eliminated Kevin Durant from the playoffs, and he's now just eliminated Steph Curry from the playoffs, which shows his greatness. Now we can say Curry was out, which is a true statement. Curry wasn't playing. Curry wasn't actively in this series. He played the first game in which they won, and then he got injured. But ultimately the series could have been different. But we'll look at the wins and the losses. We're not looking at the what-ifs. So the win is Anthony Edwards is now in the Western Conference Final, waiting on the winner of OKC and Denver, which I believe OKC is going to win that series. But let's get back into this game. You got Anthony Edwards. Let's look at this guy, man. This guy is amazing, amazing talent. Probably going to be one of the greats, and I believe he's going to be a Hall of Famer at some point if he keeps up what he's doing in Minnesota. So you got Anthony Edwards last night, 22 points, 3 blocks, 12 assists, and 7 rebounds. Propelling this team into the playoffs. Now, the matchup we all wanted to see. Now, I did want to see this matchup versus OKC. Not saying they're going to get there, but if you look at the play of the Minnesota Timberwolves, they're a young, vibrant team. They have some key pieces. Julius Randle coming through playing fairly well. Jaden Daniels, who's been a bucket all playoffs, and he was probably the best player outside of Anthony Edwards in that Lakers series. And now you see him here. You got Rudy Gobert, who actually is playing fairly well, 17 points, changes a lot of shots down there. He had 1 block yesterday, but he changed a lot of shots with 8 rebounds. And Mike Conley, he's a little long in the tooth, but he's been, a player who came through in clutch moments. Now, I like this team, because they have a superstar and they have a lot of core players around them who can produce and help them get to that next level. Minnesota is going to be a very, very tough outing for whoever they play in the Western Conference Finals because, like I said, they have a superstar, they have good role players, they have people that come to play, and they also have a good coach, let's be honest. So they play fairly well, in my opinion. So I look forward to big things from them, and I look forward to Anthony Edwards to be spectacular down the line. Now, let's flip side to the Golden State Warriors. They lose this series. Not very much to hang their head to. And I think that ultimately Steph Curry was out, their best player. They did, bring in Jimmy Butler to play. Draymond Green, he's Draymond Green. He's going to give you defense. He's going to, play hard every night. But I just think that they didn't have enough to sustain the loss of Steph Curry, which is 30 points or so. And actually, Steph Curry changes the way that teams play defense. Now, without Steph Curry, teams are able to, are able to play below the 3-point line. Now, with Steph Curry, you got to pick up at half court. So you can't even play around with this guy. If he looks at the rim, I heard Jayson Tatum make a statement that says, if Steph Curry looks at the rim, teams are on guard looking, got to D up because he can shoot from anywhere. And then he runs off all these screens, all these different things. So now you lose that. Ultimately, you can see how Minnesota won this series. Not saying it was an easy win, but it made it a lot easier. Now, Golden State, they go back to the drawing board. Can Steph Curry and them come back next season? They're getting a little old. I know Steph will be there. Draymond Green's getting a little old. Jimmy Butler will be there for sure. They bring in some more core pieces, some more players off the bench. Get a little bit more shooting around those guys. A little bit little better defenders, more defenders. I think that they will be right back in the thick of things next season, in my opinion. So you need home care services for yourself, but you don't know where to begin. Please allow Mecca Care to help you. Call now, 215-644-8341. The first game on the schedule, which was the Boston Celtics, who play host to the New York Knicks. Boston Celtics just recently lost Jayson Tatum to a ruptured Achilles. A lot of people are saying don't know the difference between a rupture and a tear. They're both of them basically mean that is damage done, but a rupture means that it's completely torn, meaning it's completely torn. Whereas though a tear, it's it could be a tear anywhere within the actual Achilles, but the rupture means that it's actually completely severed. In this case, Boston Celtics play host to the New York Knicks, and they're back. Now they're back in Boston, and you see that they still have some fight left in them. They ended up winning this game 127-102. They did have a big game from their players expected to play. Even all series, you had Derek White, who's played fairly well. Derek White had 34 points to lead all scorers last night. 34 points, 7 or 13 from behind the arc. And then you had also Jaylen Brown, who chipped in with 26 and 12 assists. And then off of the bench, of course, you had Peyton Pritchard, who always plays fairly well, and he had 17 points off of the bench. And, you had a lot of guys contributing. Drew Holiday, 14 points, and then you had Al Horford with 12. Now, the Knicks coming to this game, closeout game, I didn't expect them to win there in Boston. I thought that if Boston came out and showed, vulnerability, that the Knicks could take over. But from the tip, Boston was playing fairly well. They were in the game. They only lost the first quarter by 2 points, which is 32-30. But you look at this Boston team, they still have a lot of fight. They still have, the reigning Finals MVP playing. They still have Jaylen Brown, who's still playing. So they do have a player to go to, and they do have Derek White, who's playing. You have Drew Holiday, who's going to play defense, and you have Porzingis, who can be a threat at some point. But Al Horford, who's a savvy veteran. This team is nowhere out of the fight. They may still win this series. I'm not saying that they will, but they may still win this series. It just depends on how they play in New York. They're right there. If they win in New York, they got to come back to Boston in front of that home crowd. And I don't think the Knicks are going to want to do that. So the Knicks are going to come out swinging in Madison Square Garden. I believe the Knicks fans are going to be riled up for this game. Now, let's talk a little bit about the loss of Jayson Tatum. This loss is major. A lot of people see this loss and they see this injury. We saw it a lot. We saw it happen with this season. You saw it with Damian Lillard, and then you see it with Jayson Tatum. Somebody posed a question to me. Now, could it be because of the low, the below ankle, the low rising sneakers, not the high top sneakers? Could it be because of that, or could it be conditioning, stretching? This is just an injury that just happens to players, and ultimately players, find this injury happening, and then it can sometimes hinder their career going forward. But now with the new age medicine, you see players come back even better. Now you've seen Kobe Bryant happen to him, and then he wasn't really the same after that, but he was a little older. Tatum is very, very young. Just signed a lucrative deal with Boston last season. He's going to be around. I expect him to be back next season at some point, at full force and being ready to play. And Boston will be right back in this position. I believe so. Boston is going to be able to maintain themselves all next season, if not make it to the Eastern Conference Finals this season. But I see them either way being very, very competitive without Jayson Tatum for a while. And even once he comes back, they'll be even better. And I think this is going to help Jayson mentally. He's going to kind of look at things a little different in life. It's going to probably help him understand, conditioning. Not saying he doesn't, because he's always in the best shape, but this is probably going to help him understand conditioning, understand the importance of his health, and on and off the court. So these things happen sometimes in life, and happen to sports players. Injuries happen. We understand that. That is nothing that you can do to avoid these injuries, but ultimately, I just want to say, get better, Jayson Tatum, and we'll love to see you back on the court. Now, the Knicks, we got to see what you guys are going to do. The ball's in your court in New York City at the Madison Square Garden. We'll see what happens. It's TBISE, the best in sports entertainment.